It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Well, once again, welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. I'm your host, the lovable Tyrone Jackson. Hey, I am thankful that you're back with me and we have a little time to spend together. Now, in today's episode, I find it necessary to talk to you about your mental and emotional tools for creating financial success in your life. Now, if you've listened to more than 10 episodes of the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, you heard an awful lot of people who come on this show who are just like you. They are well-educated, driven, motivated, but they never thought they'd be making money in the stock market. And one of the reasons I love doing this show is because I love helping people transform their lives financially, making the impossible possible. And during that transformation, it's not only the mechanics of trading, but I do a lot of work with people around their expectations around money, what they've been taught, and moving away from the idea of trading time for dollars. So as we move forward here, I find it necessary that we take a pause in the action and that you and I spend a little bit of time just refreshing some of the mental, emotional, and intellectual tools that you will always need for financial success. So first, as you've heard me say, your wealth is in your thinking. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that really all of the money that you earn in this lifetime will be based on what your beliefs are. So many people believe the only way to actually generate substantial revenue is for trading time for dollars. Now, you and I both know that's simply not true, right? Because no matter what your educational level is, even if you have a PhD, people who have a PhD, most of them are not millionaires. So the answer to creating financial freedom can't be just higher levels of education. That just does not work. Well, what do wealthy people who are self-made know that most people don't? That life really is about having residual income streams. Now, if you've never heard me talk about residual income streams before, then you may want to pay attention now. If you've heard me talk about residual income streams, then you may want to pay attention again. So a residual income stream is something where you don't have to show up and trade physical labor for a paycheck. So a lot of people like residual income streams from either real estate, or as I mentioned in a couple episodes back, this whole idea of multi-level marketing. And what I really specialize in helping people get that residual income from the stock market instead of putting your money in a mutual fund. Now, money in this world is very often a service, especially if you're middle class or higher. You don't have time to generate residual income streams because you're busy working to make that $500,000, $600,000 level. So you give your money to someone else, kind of like the way that you give money to someone to cut your grass. And that is really not the best approach to have in life. You want money to be working for you and always producing a return. Now, that doesn't require some grand education. It requires a difference in how you perceive money. So let's talk about this. Even if you were putting $500 a month into a brokerage account at TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab, what would you be doing? You'd be planting the seeds for money to go to work for you, right? So that action has less to do with how much you can put in. That action really has to do with your mindset, your beliefs, and your expectations. Now, if you're putting that $500 away into an online trading account, now what do? How do you take that money and have it begin to grow? Well, once you've planted the right seeds, now you need the financial education to go to work for you so that you can put your money to work. The other thing that's going to play a large part in your success financially is what is your expectation about money? So if I asked you over the next 5 years, do you expect to earn more money? Your answer would be what? Well, clearly you would have an answer for that, right? And then I'd say, well, great. And most people will give me an answer simply because they figure if they continue to work, they have time for money working for them. Now, if I said to you, how much of your income in the next 2 to 5 years will come from residual and how much will come from time for dollars? Well, now you got to think about that, right? So here's what you want to ultimately learn as a stock market trader and an investor. Your goal, because we all have to trade time for money when we get started. Your goal is to not quit your job and suddenly have all this residual income, although it does happen for some people. Most of us want to transition into having our residual income be greater than trading time for dollars. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a job right now where you're earning approximately $80,000 a year. $80,000 a year must mean that you have some disposable income to put into an online trading account. What should be your goal in the next 2 to 5 years? It should be to earn $80,000 a year for time for dollars, but $160,000 a year doing what? Trading and investing in the stock market. See, we all have to start somewhere. And if this show is where you start changing your thinking, that's really good. But your objective is to have your residual income eclipse trading time for dollars. Now, I have to tell you, I've been really shocked over the years because I've had the opportunity to teach thousands of people, both on and offline, how to trade. And I get these wonderful emails saying, "You've really changed my life." And I thought, because my intentions were to create as many millionaires as possible, I thought a lot of people hated their job and didn't want to go back. Well, I have a certain segment of students who actually like what it is they do for a living. They want to keep that job. They just don't want to have to rely on it financially. And I have to tell you, in all honesty, that was news to me. I didn't know that there were people who actually like what they do and they like the social aspect of being around other people. They just don't want that paycheck to be their sole source of income. I'm here to tell you today, no matter what your circumstances are, you want to have twice as much residual income coming in, even if you love your primary profession. Why is that? Well, two realities that are kind of hard to face. As we get older, unfortunately, in the United States, our labor, time, and experience is not always appreciated. The people who run the company at the top look to cut expenses, and where do they cut them first? On long-time employees. So although you like your job and your profession, you might not have it forever just because you're getting older and you're going to want to make more money as you get older, right? Okay, so number one, even if we love what we do, we want to have residual income stream because the people who are paying us might not value your time and your labor and your experience in the future the way that you think it ought to be valued. Number two is this gender thing. Now, we know, unfortunately, there are still pay inequity issues between men and women. So why would women want to become traders and investors in the stock market and get a financial education? Well, statistically, women outlive men, which means what? Women are going to need more money than the average male because if you're going to live longer, you're going to need more cash, right? So even if you love what you're doing and you're a female and you don't expect anything to happen to your male spouse or partner, statistically, there's a high probability you're going to outlive them. And believe me, as a man, it's not a lot of joy for me to actually express that, but it's just a statistical reality. So if women are going to live longer, they simply need more money, which means if you're a female, you want to start your financial education now so you know how to generate thousands and thousands of dollars passively from the stock market every single month. Now, if that statistical reality impacts you, that you're a woman who's probably going to outlive her male counterpart, that should do something to your expectations. You want to start doing something right now that allows you to generate this residual income because you're going to need it in the future. So even if you don't need an extra $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month right now, maybe at some future date, you might. The other reason I want to encourage you in your toolbox and in your thinking to start thinking about residual income, because we all know that there could be a set of circumstances that shuts down your city, your town, your country, or the world. So if there were an external set of circumstances, let's say like a virus that swept through the entire world, which caused the whole world to essentially shut down its productivity, you would want and need a $5,000 to $10,000 residual stream that generates money working from home, and that, of course, is the stock market. So when there are great times of crisis that you can't see, my question is, in your 2 to 5 year plan, are you planning for some event outside of your control that might keep you home, but yet you still have bills to pay? You see, I have another saying as a wealthy investor: all money needs a plan. And when you have the right plan, you have choice, you have freedom. So one of the reasons I like to believe that you let me into your mind, your heart, by listening to this show is because maybe it's your destiny. Maybe you are destined to hear this message. You and I are destined to meet. Maybe so you change your internal thermostat and ideas about money, your expectations, so you can easily have greater cash flow on a residual basis. Does that make sense? You see, when you start expecting good things to happen to you, what do you think happens in your world? When you start expecting to meet great people, what do you think happens in your world? When you start expecting money to flow to you in larger chunks consistently on a monthly basis, you take actions that are consistent with that expectation and your world changes. So no matter what circumstances you're in right now, what are your expectations? I find that when people are at their lowest point because of maybe a crisis or a challenge, the thoughts and feelings that come up are your deepest thoughts and feelings. And some of those deep, dark thoughts and feelings need to change. For many of you right now is the time when you need to have a shift in your thinking financially so that as you move forward in the next 2 to 5 years, you'll never be in a place of hurting financially again because you change your expectations, right? So I've seen a number of crises in my day, and I've had the opportunity to teach a lot of people, right? So some people could say I'm in effect in the human data business because I teach so many people. But here's what's so great about it. I notice the people who start to think and expect residual income are not only better off in the short term, but they're also better off in the long term because they're planning for maybe something to happen outside of their control. Therefore, they can grow the value of their stock trading account to reflect money that they will probably need in the future. Think about these ideas of your expectations, particularly if you've hit a challenge in your life, a job loss, or maybe the loss of a spouse, or a divorce, or something that has negatively impacted your income. What were you expecting financially before the crisis? Think about that. And what are you expecting for the future? Back in a moment.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
So during this episode, we're talking about your expectations and your expectations around money and residual income. Now, we know that there are trades out there that allow us to create residual income on a monthly basis. And I just want to remind you of what they are. Number one, it's covered call writing, okay? Whether you're selling covered calls in or out of the money, it's guaranteed money that's coming into your account. Number two is dividends. A lot of people overlook that. Did you know that there's some people who just pass on stocks and shares, thousands of shares for generations, and those shares pay a dividend? I'll tell you some funny stories. So when I left college and I started working in the movie business, most of you know I was in the movie business. I was on TV for a long period of time. And I was meeting other people that were also in the movie business that were also successful. And it was really interesting because I'd say maybe around the age of about 32, 33, a lot of us had found a partner and we were ready to start having kids and we were ready to move forward as, husband and wife and live a life and raise a family. And what I found really interesting was two friends in particular By the time I turned 33, they already had their first home. And because I lived in New York City, they already had their first co-op or condo. And I was thinking, well, this is interesting. How is it that they have a co-op or condo and I'm still putting the pieces of it all together? Now, I had just discovered stock market trading, so I knew this idea of being a millionaire, multimillionaire from trading stocks couldn't be far off. But just where we were starting from, me and my current friendship circle, it didn't seem to be that we were starting out from the same place in life. And what I learned when I think of these two people, their parents had been buying stocks for years. So when it was time for their 31-year-old daughter or son to get the down payment for the house, what do you think they did? They sold their long-term stock holdings. And what was left over, they had given to their kids in the form of shares, which paid dividends. When I first discovered it, I got to tell you, I was blown away. You see, mom and dad already had expectations about money for their kids. They already knew this idea of residual income, and they wanted to pass on to their kids stocks, which are assets which had grown over time. So you see, there's some secrets that middle class and upper class people don't mention, but they have their rules of the game and their expectations set in place. Many of the people who I have the opportunity to teach and become students of mine do very well for themselves, but their expectations around money and the future are usually limited. So this is why I have to talk so much about how you were programmed and your money thoughts. Now, do you know how much it actually costs you to change your mind and think positive thoughts? Zero. Nothing. You can change your mind and your mindset right now. That's what's so exciting. And say, no matter what I've been through in the past, it's nobody's fault, but from this moment right now, I'm going to change my expectations. So let's talk about your retirement. A lot of people say, I don't have to deal with retirement right now. It's a ways off. I'll deal with that later. Well, actually, it's not as far off as you think. And did you know that you can sell covered calls in your retirement account and start growing that? Now, why, even if I'm 20 years away from retirement, do I want to start trading in my retirement account now? Because the best time to focus on residual income and wealth building is when you don't need it, right? Now, your retirement account, believe it or not, is an asset. If you ever go to buy a piece of property, one of the things that the bank or lending institution is going to ask you about is, how much money do you have in retirement? Because they're looking for, if you ever default on that loan, on that mortgage, you have a place in which you can draw cash from if you ever get in trouble, okay? So this idea of having money in a retirement account is really, really important because I always say, even if you have $1,500 in a retirement account, you have wealth. And what is wealth? Wealth is money you don't need right now. So I know it's hard to think of $1,500 as wealth, but it really is wealth if it's money placed somewhere that's working for you. So the time to focus on your retirement is right now. Now, can you actually trade in a retirement account and a live account so that you can pull out the cash from the stock market every single month? Of course you can. What does it take? It takes the fact that you're willing to dig into your wealthy investor toolbox right now and say, where are my thoughts lacking? Because that's affecting what you're doing with your money. Okay? So your tools are very important. The wealthy investor tools are supremely important, that you start looking at your life from a residual income point of view, because the reality is we never know when we're going to need to live off that residual income stream. But if you have no plan for your money, then you have no financial plan for your future. And you're too smart for that. Don't let that happen. Adjust your expectations. Start thinking about what it would be like right now if you had an additional $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 coming in every single month. How would you feel knowing that month after month after month, that money is there for you? Well, as somebody who has a lot of residual income coming in on a monthly basis, who was not taught to think that way, life is pretty cool. And as I always say, why do you want to think about what it would be like to have $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 coming in a month? Because the question is this: who would you help? Even if you didn't need that money, Couldn't you give some of it away to your favorite charity? Couldn't you help people in your community? When your kids' schools need supplies, couldn't you deliver some of those supplies? Do you know how good it feels in this life to be able to help people who can't help themselves? It feels great. You have the power to redirect your thoughts so that your financial future is radically different to the upside from where it is right now. I'll see you right back here next week on Trading Stocks Made Easy with me, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson. That's it for now.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't know which stocks to choose for trading in today's market? No problem. Just follow Tyrone Jackson's hot stock picks inside WITradeschool.com. At WITradeschool.com, you could also follow Tyrone's weekly stock market tutorials and investing advice. Plus, each week you can submit your trading and investing questions directly to our staff, and Tyrone will answer them as part of our weekly video Q&A sessions. Begin your membership right now and you'll get instant access to WITradeschool.com's video library. That means you'll get to know all of Tyrone's major and minor trading strategies, including covered call writing and volatility trading for fast, sexy profits. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. In addition to a successful podcast, Tyrone's editorial content has been featured on CBSMoneyWatch.com, NASDAQ.com, and YahooFinance.com. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.